Good evening, YouTube, and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about my Highland setup, which I am growing in a grow tent. I want to talk about my care, my conditions, and how I'm taking care of these plants. So first of all, here's the grow tent I'm growing them in. This is a 4x4 grow tent that I got. It's in really good condition off of Craigslist. I used to have a 4x2x5, and I just upgraded to the 4x4 about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, but this one is 4x4x7, so pretty much double the grow space. So I figure let's just head on in here, and I'll show you around the tent and how I manage the conditions for these Highland plants. While most of my plants in here are intermediate plants, I grow at Highland because I plan on getting some more Highland plants, and the intermediates really don't mind being kept in Highland conditions. Alright. So, here is the inside of the tent. As you can see, the humidifier is currently on, and probably won't be able to see the conditions right now, but we are currently at our daytime highs. So the bottom sensor here indicates what the tent's supposed to be at, which is 24 degrees, which is my daytime highs, which is from 2 to 4 p.m. and this is what it's currently at. So as long as it's within -1 but not higher than 24, the cooling doesn't, or the cooling and heating don't come on. The humidity in the tent is supposed to be at 75 during our daytime highs. It's currently at 70.8, which is why the humidifier's on. The humidifier comes on when it's either -2 or -3. Oh, because it's reached 1 degree under, it's 23 now. That's why the heater just clicked on, because I've opened the tent. Humidifier, and here is cooling. Get in there. This is a duct I have, which, since I just upgraded to the tent, it was right here, and we had a chest freezer that was right here. The freezer has since been moved to the other side of the wall, which is the basement, and this tent has been moved and disassembled, so that's why it's kind of a mess with the extension cord and with the ducting. I plan to cut into the roof here to run the ducting through and to where the fan is on the wall, so it looks a bit cleaner. And of course, same thing with the extension cord, which runs up here for the cooling. So the tent used to be here, and this is how I cool my tent. I intake cold air from outside. I am in Canada, in BC, in the Greater Vancouver area. So usually throughout the year, except for in our really hot summers, I can cool this tent to 14 degrees pretty easily. So the ducting comes up here and turns on as needed. Just gonna open this up while I'm at it. Ta-da! Here's the tent. So humidity comes up here. It's just a little humidifier I got a few years ago. The hose runs all the way through the back and to here, where it works on the sensor. And since the tent door is open, it's gonna be on for, I guess, the whole video. So, little heater I'm using, and I made this little foil thing so that the heat doesn't come directly onto the tent and damage it. Instead, it flows upwards, and it keeps flowing as heat loves to congregate around the higher areas, while cold air sinks to the lower areas, which is why the cold air is coming in up. That way, when it comes in, it kind of mixes throughout the tent with the help of these fans, and same thing with the heater. The heat will rise up and mix throughout the tent. I'm just trying to keep the air as even as possible, even though there will always be a temperature difference. For example, I have this right here, which shows the conditions on the floor. And right now it is 21 degrees Celsius, 21.2 to be exact, with 76% humidity. The humidity is a bit low because, once more, I've opened this tent door. But in comparison to where the humidity sensor is up here, this says 64.7. And it says it's 24 degrees where the probe is. So this right here is my temperature probe, and this right here is my humidity probe, which is about 4 feet up, leaving 3 feet extra above here. So kind of in the middle of the tent, while that's at the floor. Keep all my Highland plants on the floor. It's usually cooler, more humid there, whereas the plants that are easier to grow or prefer warmer temperatures, such as these truncatas in the back here, I keep a bit higher up. The only reason the truncatas aren't all the way up here is because they don't like as much sunlight, and I'm really trying to get those leaf jumps to get bigger leaves so I get bigger pitchers, and that's, I mean, who doesn't grow truncata for their huge pitchers? I have 2 fans here, one blowing in this direction to cover the floor and this area of the tent, and one angle to blow up so it gets the shelf and these plants up here, as well as circulating air all around the tent. These fans come on, these fans are set up on a timer, which is 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off, except for the parts where it's down here, where it is on for from 1 to about 5:30 overnight, constantly, to provide a really consistent drop in temperatures. And then it turns off for the coldest part of the night around, I believe, 5 to 6, maybe 4:30, to really provide the bottom of the tent, since all the cold air will sink down at the bottom with the 14-degree nighttime drop, while the higher parts of the tent can stay around the ambient 15, 16 degrees they were before the temperature settings brought it down to 14 degrees. So, given we're about to go into our summer months, I'm probably going to get an air conditioner to put right here and connect the ducting to so we can get those 14-degree nights. And yep, that's pretty much only going to be there for summer, and winter back to the wall. And the reason I'm investing in a air conditioning unit for this summer is because I have some real, true Highlanders, although some people consider them ultra Highlanders. I really don't. 14 degrees seems to do perfectly well for them. I think they might grow faster, some of them at 12 degrees for their nights, but we'll see. So right there is one of my true Highlanders, Nepenthes macrophylla, and this is a cutting, which means it has no roots. I got this from another grower in the area about a month ago, and all the pitches have died off. The leaves are still nice and solid, which tells me the plant is working on making new growth, and it is in favorable conditions. So just a waiting game with that one. Same story with the Lowii and with the Hamada down there. Now with this Lowii, if you can see, these black and brown leaves just under is how I got the plant last, I believe, September or October. It has since then doubled in size in these conditions. So if Lowii is liking it, all the other Highlanders should like it. Here's a little sneak peek at my boss, Gianna. This guy is currently eating a rat inside. I posted some pictures on my Instagram account, and I don't want to play around with the picture too much just in case the tendril gets damaged. But this is day 3. It's got a rat in there. Hopefully I can at least see the tail. Oh yeah, the tail's right there, if you can see that. Just at the bottom of the picture, tail sticking out from the rat. And there's the lid blocking it. So yeah, that's all I can really get. But yeah, this is day 3 it's eating the rat. I see no blackening of the picture, no damage at all, so hopefully this really propels the plant to grow a bit more, finally pushing it into that vining stage, and pushing the basil to become as big as the parent, I guess. As for other true Highlanders, I have a Heliamphora Newtans giant up there, which I consider to be a true Highlander, even though they're from the Tepuis. I hope I'm saying that right. In the Venezuela-Colombia area, but they usually love regular Nepenthes highland conditions. The other plants here are pretty much intermediates. Boschiana, I would consider that an intermediate. I've got some Berbiges by Stenophylas, which are Highlanders. Since they're hybrids, they can be grown as intermediates. I've got Spectabilis ventricosa, a Glandulifera by Veitchii by Lowii, and a Nepenthes ventrata back there. I'll give a more in-depth tour of all the plants I have once I put some shelving in and can really divide up all those basils that are crowding the place. Today is just mostly a setup and care and conditions video. On that topic, this plant is flowering, or will be flowering soon. I'll see if I can grab the flashlight. Okay, just bear with me here. Yeah, if you can see that right there, that is an incoming flower spike on this Nepenthes Rebecca Soper, which is a cross between, I believe, Ramaspina and Ventricosa. I don't know what gender this plant is yet, so I'm unsure if I'm going to be collecting pollen to send away or getting pollen from other growers to pollinate my plant. But either way, having seeds of my own will be a really nice thing. As for watering, I water these plants by hand and by eye. I'd say about once a week. It's pretty humid in here, so it doesn't dry out a whole lot. Some plants require more watering than others. This Boschian is in a pretty big pot right here, so it requires less water than, say, this. What's a good plant that I water quite frequently? Oh, right here. This Ventrata, which is in a small pot that I should probably up pot, given I feel like he's trying to get bigger, but can't, due to the lack of root size. So that's water and lights. These are T5 lights that I have installed. I'm unsure how much, I think it's PPFD that light's measured with. I'm unsure how much PPFD the readings are throughout parts of my tent. I've just kind of gone by eye. In my last tent, it worked perfectly fine. I even got some leaf burn here when the plants are too close to the light. I've since backed them off. And so far, it's been about 3 weeks in, everything seems perfectly happy. So I'd say all's in order. And these lights, if you can see the cord at the back there, are connected to a timer, just like this one, where they run for about, actually, I'll probably check. I'll move this tent up. I'll pause the video, I'll move this tent up, and then I'll show you the back. Alright, so I've moved the tent. It's way up front now and a bit crooked, but I'll show you how the lights are connected. It's really dark back here, so I'll use this flashlight. So same timer as before, and attaches up here, goes up into here, and this is really just a safe plug-in space. And yeah, so the lights, the lights are on from, sorry if this will focus, just have to, alright, it's hard to get in there, but yeah, the lights are on from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m., which I believe is 14 hours, or let me count. Yeah, that's 14 hours. So I'm just gonna move the tent back now. Alright, so just to recap, daytime highs are 24 degrees, nighttime lows 14 degrees. Daytime lows for humidity are 75 degrees. and nighttime highs for humidity are 90 degrees. Or, sorry, 75% and 90% humidity in the tent. Fans are on every 30 minutes, off for 30 minutes, and on for about 5 hours constantly at nighttime to give the constant nighttime drops. Lights are T5 and have worked well for me. They're on a timer, same as the fans, while the heating and the cooling are regulated by these Inkbird thermostats. Now, with my tent, I really try to replicate as best I can natural conditions. So, for example, I'll keep the pots dry or just moist for days at a time, and then I'll come in and I will I usually flood the tent about every 2 to 3 weeks, where I water everything soaking wet. If they're in trays, they might stand in there for like a day or two, and then I spray everything down with my trusty sprayer right here to kind of act like an absolute downpour. In the wild, these plants are never standing in water, soaking wet, but they are always constantly moist, sometimes drying out even just a bit. And they do have their rainy season and their dry season and whatnot. So I try to replicate these as best as I can during cultivation. And same goes with my temperature settings and my humidity. As soon as the lights turn on, as soon as it's daytime for the plants, it's not immediately 24 degrees and 75% humidity. And when the lights turn off, same thing. It's not immediately 14 degrees and 90% humidity. The temperature in this tent changes about every 2 hours, where around 12 p.m. in the day, it's about 22 degrees. At 10 p.m., it's about 20 degrees. At 8 a.m., it's about 18 degrees. At 6 a.m., it's 16 degrees. And then 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., it's 14 degrees in the tent. 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., it's 15 degrees. 12 to 2, it's back to 16 degrees. 10 to 12, it's 18 degrees. And just kind of that. Just having that gradual fluctuation of temperatures as they would see in the wild. And so far, that's worked really well for me. And you can see everything's enjoying it right now. I've lost very few plants in this setup. Most of them that I have lost, which has been, I believe, just 2 over the past few years, it's really been just because they've been in the back and maybe I've forgotten to water them while I was at school. So yeah, that is all for today with my care and conditions. I think I've gotten everything I meant to catch. I will update once I have divided all of the plants up that I need to divide and put some shelving. The plan is to put a 2-foot shelf in the back that goes all the way up here. Put my big vining plants in the corner here, and then have my heater and have maybe 1 or 2 other plants in the rest of this 1x1, but in the rest of this 2x2 foot area. That's the plan so far, and with the extra space I should be able to divide all of them up. Like in here I cut up my vine for my Nepenthes maxima by Talangensis, and I have about 13 plants in here, which I have to further divide up. And this pot of Drosera adelays is absolutely filled up. It wouldn't surprise me if I had like 40 or even 50 of these plants in here. And then in here I have tons of basils. I have like 3 for the Rebecca Soper that's flowering, and I have about 5 basils for the Ventrata in the back there. So when everything is nice and tidy, I'll give a good video of all the plants I have, and maybe even some species spotlights if you guys want that. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching.